These days, corporations and politicians using social media to weaponize division is downright common. Some of those techniques were first used 10 years ago to supercharge a backlash to the largest indigenous-led protest in recent history, Standing Rock.
So it's basically, yes, I thought they were evil, now you've confirmed it for me.
For the full story, listen to Drilled, The Propagandist, wherever you get your podcasts.
We're in Kitwe, Zambia, and it's a busy morning at the Copperbelt University.
That's not the full name, because if you ask anyone, they'll tell you the mighty Copperbelt University.
Right, the mighty Copperbelt University. Jobran Nyirenda is one of the over 20,000 students here. He's studying environmental engineering.
And on your right is the admin block, and on our left is the School of Mines and Mineral Sciences.
Copperbelt University has one of the top mining programs in Zambia. And thanks to a massive boom in copper prices, young Zambians are racing to get jobs in copper mining. In just the past 5 years, the number of students studying mining at Copperbelt University has quadrupled.
These are the classes they use. You have classes for mining engineers, environmental engineers, geologists, metallurgists, all the disciplines under the School of Mines.
As you might guess from the name, Copperbelt University is in an area rich in copper. It's a critical mineral in the green energy transition. That's the global plan to switch from fossil fuels to renewable energy. So Zambia's copper is getting a lot of the world's attention. Jobran walks us through the large student center, and we notice the words stenciled on the chairs.
Donated by the Embassy of People's Republic of China.
It's not just furniture. China's also investing in research and student exchange programs. But to be honest, the open-air campus still looks a little worn around the edges. As we pass by another building where the paint is peeling, Jobran says the US is also here.
So American Corner, just a space where you go and interact with the American Embassy. There's a library there, you can go and use it for research. You can also use it as a study space.
The US, China, India, Canada, billions of dollars are flowing into the country, transforming everything from small towns to national politics.
Zambia is moving at a very fast pace.
The signs are everywhere, if you know where to look. Like here, Jobran's favorite place on campus.
I'm sure you can see a zebra. Actually, those are three zebras.
Zebras donated by a copper mining company in a wildlife park on the CBU campus.
We call it the CBU Zoo. So just in there again, you see some waterbucks, impalas, some springboks, yeah.
Wildlife, chairs, a library, all sponsored by foreign governments and mining companies. But what really sticks out on campus is the number of students wearing mining gear. Like Rose Mpanza, she wears rugged black boots and a jacket striped with reflective tape.
I'm currently interning at the deepest shaft. It was the first time that I was exposed to such temperatures. Like, it's very hot underground, but it's doable.
When she graduates in a few months, Rose hopes to land a high-paying job at a copper mine, the kind of job that has usually gone to foreign workers.
So there's no way that you can bring in new people, like other people from outside, to work in our country on our resources when we belong and we are competent.
When we ask Rose why so many young people are studying mining, she puts it bluntly.
We are here because we believe that through mining, we are going to become rich. Not only me alone, but Zambia is going to become rich.
This is Radio Workshop. I'm Lesedi Mokgwatle. Today, we're in Zambia, a landlocked country of just over 22 million people in South Central Africa. A country that's somehow impossibly rich and desperately poor at the same time. Zambia, like many African countries, sits on a wealth of natural resources. It's home to some of the richest, highest grade copper deposits on the planet. And copper is the key to renewable energy. wind turbines, solar panels, batteries for electric cars, even AI data centers, they all run on copper. Demand has never been higher, and yet, despite all that wealth underground, Zambia is one of the poorest, most unequal countries in the world. There's a name for this paradox: the resource curse. Since the first copper boom nearly a century ago, Zambia has gotten its hopes up that copper will bring wealth. And the things wealth buys, like education, healthcare, a better quality of life. And each time it's slipped away, leaving behind little more than a legacy of environmental damage. This time could be different. Economists predict copper prices will remain high for another decade, or more, long enough to make a lasting change. The government has set an aggressive timeline to triple copper production in the next 5 years, so Zambia could be on the cusp of one of the most monumental economic shifts since its independence in 1964. We sent 2 members of our team, Naomi Gruen and Doshin Moodley, to Zambia's second largest city, Kitwe, right in the heart of the copper belt, to talk to young Zambians who want in on that future.
We feel the copper boom as soon as we land in Ndola, the capital of the Copperbelt province and an hour away from Kitwe. The arrivals terminal is ultra-modern, glass and shiny metal everywhere, big digital info screens. And the lift calls out the floor number in English and Mandarin. China financed and built the airport just 5 years ago. The drive into Kitwe takes about an hour. On the busy highway, everything we see just screams copper. We pass truck after truck full of mining equipment. A billboard for our hotel promises copper-full hospitality. A Zambian flag waves in the distance with a big orange stripe for copper. We know we're in Kitwe when we see Black Mountain. It's not a real mountain. It's 20 million tons of mine waste, a landmark towering over the city for nearly a century. After checking into our hotel, our first stop is Copperbelt University, where Professor Peter Chileshe and his mining students are waiting for us.
Let's go to M114, please. Okay, Chin, find your place as close as possible to the front. We don't want you going to sit at the back. No, you are too far. Please come forward. I always say that. Please come forward. My name is Professor Peter Chileshe. These are my 5th-year students in mining and geomatics engineering.
About 15 or so students settle into their seats as Professor Chileshe shows us around his classroom.
Are we all here? This is one of the mining labs where we introduce students to mining, like what is a drill, what's a drill bit, what is this, things, basic things.
The walls have paintings that show different types of mine shafts.
Then also you will see around what we call physical models.
Along the edge of the room, there are dusty dioramas made from cardboard, wire, and plastic toy trucks.
These were donated by the mining industry like in the 80s and so on. These are physical models which show the mining configurations underground. Because, it's not easy to picture mining shafts and what have you.
Professor Chileshe turns his attention to the class.
And let's go to Unit 4.
He starts with some easy questions.
What are the main forms of energy and why?
The main forms of energy that they have is firstly hydro.
Hydro. And why?
For us in Zambia,
the vibe in the class is friendly, relaxed. The students seem to genuinely like their professor. He asks if anyone can tell him the price of copper.
Roughly, it's about $13,000 per ton.
You can imagine if we had had the equivalent of $13,000 in the 70s, 80s, Zambia would have been a completely different country.
Chileshe would know. He's in his 70s, but he worked in the mines as a young man during an earlier boom. Mining has changed a lot since then. High-tech modeling and AI tools are becoming standard. But there's very little in this classroom that reflects a modern industry. Chileshe wraps up his lecture and offers to step outside so his students can speak their minds without him hanging around. We ask if they feel prepared to work in a modern mine. One student, Mambwe Msonda, has a cheeky smile on his face.
I mean, even, Stevie Wonder? Even Stevie Wonder can see to say our setups are outdated, blind as he is.
Mambwe says even Stevie Wonder can see their models are outdated. But he's not worried about being left behind.
One thing about lacking resources is, one, it makes you creative. You can do a lot with a little.
Students in Professor Chileshe's class believe their desire to make it in mining is enough to overcome these equipment gaps. And many of them already have experience working in the mines.
My internship was so fascinating.
David Mulenga spent the past 3 months at a Canadian-owned mine, one of the largest in the country.
It started with the familiarization of the mining processes.
Each week, he learned something new about the industry. He enjoyed meeting people from all over the world.
So there, we do not point fingers at people. Everybody is treated the same. And you see mostly the management is comprises of the same people of color, like me.
David says Zambians can be quite formal, especially with their bosses. So he was surprised to hear workers call their managers by their first name.
Even though you are talking to a boss, definitely if he's David, you call him David. So that reduces that amount of fear you have for leaders, so you can easily interact with them.
David says he felt respected. And he was even more surprised when the company showed respect for other living things. Like when a snake, yes, a snake, they're pretty common in the mines, slithered onto the site.
Normally, when we're in a society like this, you definitely have to kill that snake. But that site, you don't kill the snake, because for them, they believe to say, we, the humans, are the ones who are interfering with their natural environment, and we are not supposed to be chasing them.
When he was younger, David thought he'd become a doctor. But now he hopes mining will help his family out of poverty. One day at the mine, he was riding in a vehicle with a superintendent who
pointed at a friend of his, says, oh, you know how much that person gets? $10,000, and that's a lot of money in Zambia. Maybe it may not be big out there, but in here, that's a lot of money, and you can do a lot with that. Yeah.
David is so optimistic about his ability to succeed that we almost forget about the bigger picture, the resource curse. There's so much money to be made, and still the country struggles with issues like poverty and corruption. The kinds of things politicians love to say they're going to fix. And yet, no politicians we asked would talk to us. Turns out, Zambian journalists struggle with this too.
This is Flavor FM on 87.7 on the Copperbelt, 92.1.
Okay, my name is Monica Baidu. I am the station manager here at Flavor FM.
Monica's station is on the roof of an old post office building in the city centre. And as we settle into her office, I mentioned to her how busy the city sounds.
If I was to close my eyes right now, you'd hear cars hooting. You'd hear hawkers in the street.
Monica is in her late 20s. She was born and raised in Kitwe. She's a journalist, and she says it's part of her job to hold elected officials accountable.
Zambia's media space is, I'm not going to say is stifling, but obviously we do check ourselves, obviously not to get on the wrong side of the law.
Like a colonial-era sedition law which leaves anyone who disagrees with the government walking on a knife's edge.
You don't want to do anything that could risk your license.
In some parts of the country, police have detained and arrested journalists for reporting on corruption and poor governance.
It comes with the territory, and at least I believe we run an independent policy here. We've kept our integrity. No one's buying us to say or do anything just to put out a narrative out there.
Monica says all of this while smiling through gritted teeth. She says she focuses on the issues the people in Kitwe care about: unemployment, clean water, air pollution from trucks kicking up dust, all things the copper boom's been making worse.
If I was to take you around, there's a place I used to like to go sit just opposite the Black Mountain.
From there, Monica sees Zambia's wealth leaving Kitwe.
You could count like so many tracks passing there along the road, and you can see they've carried copper, but then we don't see where the money from what we see going out every day is doing for us in Kitwe.
Zambia right now is the it girl.
Mishka Musa's job is to understand how Zambia might keep some of the copper money in the country. Her research at Good Governance Africa focuses on what Zambia can do to protect people and resources. She says the government already has a lot of strong laws on the books.
So if I had a magic wand, the first thing I would do is prioritize implementing those laws.
Laws that bring about more transparency and accountability. Laws that could tax international mining companies to pay for things like education and healthcare, and require mines to hire and train local workers.
Because they really are such strong laws. And Zambia's been in a very iterative process where they've learned from the past.
Copper accounts for about 70% of Zambia's total export earnings. Mishka says that's exactly the problem. For this boom to be different, for Zambia to finally escape the resource curse, the country has to change how it thinks about its biggest export.
Yeah, I think optimistically cautious or cautiously optimistic. The copper isn't just seen as something that the country is going to just export anymore, but it's a real and revived opportunity to support jobs, infrastructure, and achieve those broader development goals.
This is Radio Workshop. We'll be right back. We'll be back after a quick break.
I'm David Remnick, host of the New Yorker Radio Hour. There's nothing like finding a story you can really sink into that lets you tune out the noise and focus on what matters. In print or here on the podcast, The New Yorker brings you thoughtfulness and depth and even humor that you can't find anywhere else. So please join me every week for the New Yorker Radio Hour, wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is Radio Workshop. I'm Lesedi Mokgwatle. Many experts say Zambia is trying to break free from the resource curse. That means keeping more of its wealth from mining copper at home. We've heard about the policies that could make that happen. Increase taxes on mining companies. Spend that money on schools and healthcare. Set aside funds for when copper prices inevitably drop again. Require the mines to hire and train Zambians, not just to dig up raw copper, but to refine it before it leaves the country. Here's the thing. Most of this is happening to some degree, but booms don't last forever. Many Zambians are asking, are these changes happening fast enough? But when it comes to demanding change, it's tricky. A lot of people we spoke with said the culture values respect, especially towards those in power. So it was all the more surprising when people threw stones at the president at a campaign stop last year. It was big news at the time.
Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema was almost hit by stones today in the afternoon at Chiwempala Market in Chingoni when small-scale miners disrupted the event.
Some of those stone throwers were illegal miners from Chingola, not far from Kitwe. They're often called jarabos, slang for jail boys. So let's jump back into the story with Naomi.
Yeah.
A local community leader arranges for us to meet with some of the Jerabos.
This is my team, huh? Oh.
Usakile Township is a mining community that lies in the shadow of Black Mountain. the towering pile of mining waste we saw when we arrived in Kitwe.
Hello, everyone.
We're standing outside a house with about a dozen young men in their early 20s. They mine for copper at Black Mountain. None of them have permits, and so they sneak in or cut through the fence, and sometimes do worse. No one wants to give us their real name. They sell the raw copper to local or foreign buyers. The price is based on the quality of the copper.
This is a grade, so there are different prices. This you can sell at the price of maybe 5 kwacha to 6 kwacha. But this we do sell 25, 27.
On a good day, they'll each make around $200. That's about a month's rent in Kitwe. As we keep asking questions, one of the men, wearing a red basketball jersey, disappears inside the house. He comes back with a blue plastic bag. He pulls out 2 rocks. Both contain copper. He smashes open the first rock and points to a few specks of green inside. It has a shimmery metallic look.
Yeah, this is a grade, and then low grade.
He strikes the second rock much harder, again and again before it cracks open. Inside, it's much darker, almost black. This is the cheap copper.
Yeah, this is low grade. The broke one, this is low grade, this is a grade.
These miners know their stuff. And if Zambia's president keeps his promise to issue more permits, some of them could put their skills to work legally. But they say they don't know a single person who has a permit yet. That's why the miners threw stones at the president.
So it says the frustration is huge.
That's Laksan Mwale, a reporter who grew up here. He's translating for the miners who speak Bemba.
And it's understandable because every successful government, they've promised them, we'll give you 10% access to the minerals, and most of them don't get that 10% access. They don't feel the value or the benefit which they are promised by their leaders.
Without the legal right to work and the right equipment, they're risking a lot to mine copper.
Sometimes they are shot at by the police or security personnel using rubber bullets.
I thought Sinana was security. We give beat 10.
They are not afraid of security. Sometimes they can even beat them. Yeah.
Police and security guards at the mines say Jerobos will break in and attack them. They accuse them of hijacking copper trucks. It's at this moment one of the young men says what he really wants from mining.
He says he wants to be a parent and live in a better home where when he's knocking off from work, his children would run after him and shout, "Daddy, Daddy."
We ask if copper could make that happen. And then someone says a phrase we hadn't heard before. We look over at Laksan.
We have this Zambia Kuchalo. They use that slang to protest.
Zambia Kuchalo means Zambia to the world, a phrase made popular by the rapper Y Celeb.
Zambia Kuchalo.
It's become shorthand for Zambia's pride and its impact on the world. But Laksan says these miners are being sarcastic. Like, how can all our copper be out there in the world and we're still so poor? It's like they've figured out how to sneak their protest into a phrase, one that sounds patriotic on the surface, that nobody can punish them for. But everyone knows what they really mean.
Despite the rich minerals that we have, they don't look as good as where the minerals end up.
For that to change, the government and mining companies have a lot of work to do. Nsama Chikwanka is the founder of Publish What You Pay Zambia, a network of non-profits that push for better conditions for Zambians, including the illegal miners.
What do we think would need to change for this boom, this increase to actually impact human lives is to put people at the center. And the people are absent. The people are not there.
He even pushes back on the term copper boom.
I don't think the colleagues that are living in the mining areas are calling it copper boom.
Nsama echoes many of the things we've been hearing. The need for more transparency and government accountability. He's frustrated.
Many of our people are still struggling to access quality, reliable, affordable medical care. Come on, guys, we can do better, we can do differently.
And don't get him started on the idea of sustainable mining.
No, Naomi, there's nothing like sustainable mining. Mining is disruptive. Not a single mine has restored the place, the environment, to its original state.
Nsama says mining will always leave scars on the environment, even for those not living close to the mines. In February last year, the country experienced one of its biggest mining catastrophes yet. A breach in a tailings dam at a Chinese-owned copper mine sent an estimated 50 million litres of toxic waste into the Kitwe River, one of Zambia's most important waterways. An independent environmental group later claimed the spill was up to 30 times larger than the officially reported figure, something Sinometals pushes back on. The immediate effects lasted weeks. Even here, in the suburbs of Kitwe, where the houses are bigger and everywhere we look, there's construction.
Hello, so nice to meet you. Same here.
Mwende is in her early 30s and lives here with her husband and 3 young boys. The baby of the family is glued to her hip while she takes us into her home to talk.
Junior is named after his dad. He's 1 year, 3 months old.
Mwende is not her real name. She works security at one of the mines, and she doesn't want them to know she's talking to journalists. Sure, Mwende worries about her sons being attracted to illegal mining, but the toxic spill into the Kitwe River, that's a way more urgent concern.
I read on Facebook the Chinese-owned mines, like there's one of the tailing dams have collapsed and then the spillage has gone on contaminating the soil around the area.
What did you do when you saw that headline on social media? I would have freaked out.
Yes, I panicked. I immediately called the people at home to say, please don't drink water. That water is contaminated.
When Kitwe's water authority learned about the spill, they shut off drinking water to the entire city, leaving almost 700,000 people without water.
Imagine there was water interruption for close to a week.
The water is back on now. The government says it's safe to drink. But Mwende says she doesn't believe it. Not fully. She says that sometimes she'll open the tap and the water is muddy. Wow, so what are you doing? Just not drinking the tap water?
Yes, but we're able to do other things like washing of plates because you can't afford to buy mineral water for all your house chores. That's impractical.
Mwende says when the bottle is empty, they boil tap water or treat it with chlorine. She knows most residents in Kitwe can't afford to do that. She's one of the lucky ones.
The impact can be felt now, but in the near future, it's going to be bad.
Disasters like the spill into the Kitwe River raise big questions, like whether the Zambian government is doing enough to hold foreign-owned mines accountable.
When this spill happened, really, I do not hide the fact that I was upset.
Dr. Mwina Himwinga is an environmental consultant who advises mines on best practices. She says the mining company treated the river to neutralize the acid, but that only solved part of the problem.
That effluent contained toxic elements and they settled at the bottom of the river, meaning plant life and any form of life in these rivers was actually affected.
Dead fish floated to the top of the river. Cattle grazing on the riverbanks died too. And the plants along the riverbed absorbed it all.
Heavy metals have a tendency to seep through plants, especially leafy vegetables, and you don't need a really high concentration before your metabolism is affected.
Dr. Himwinga says toxic waste from mining can ruin a community. She knows firsthand.
It actually sounds a lot like Kitwe.
A few hours south of where we are is Kitwe, Dr. Himwinga's hometown. It's still so contaminated from nearly a century of lead mining that experts call it a sacrifice zone. They haven't mined lead for decades, but many children in Kitwe are born with lead poisoning.
I think that is where my passion for environmental engineering came from, coming from a town that everyone considered the most polluted in the world.
She says she doesn't want to see the same thing happen to Kitwe. She doesn't want Zambia to keep learning these lessons the hard way.
And I wish we had more conversations surrounding the Kitwe pollution, because we should try and make sure it doesn't repeat itself, because the consequences really are going to be felt even the next decades.
Dr. Himwinga wants stronger regulation, more accountability, and frequent safety checks on mining companies. Without that kind of oversight, the wealth from copper won't be worth it.
It doesn't really make sense. If it's going to be at the expense of the health of communities, then I don't think it's something that should go forward.
By the time we leave Dr. Himwinga, we're not sure what to think about Zambia's future. The copper is plentiful. The demand is high. Laws exist, students are eager, the boom is real. But so are the high rates of poverty and the environmental damage. We're really feeling the weight of Zambia's resource curse. Could it be any different this time? It's our last day, so we go back to where we started, Copperbelt University. It's just before noon on a Friday. The campus is quiet. A choir group we met earlier in the week practices under the trees. Walking to record them, we spot Professor Peter Chileshe, the one whose mining class we joined.
I thought you had already left. Eh? You love your Kitwe, eh? Kitwe must be treating you well. Eh? Now, this is Professor Roy, my immediate younger brother. No. You must meet my brother.
I tell Peter I noticed his fedora right away.
Oh, that he's into them, you know. It's a Zambian old man thing. If you go around, just look out the window, you'll see half the old men will be sporting a hat of one kind or another. It's like, how possible is it to go anywhere without?
Professor Roy Chileshe teaches urban environment. The two brothers are in their 70s now. But when they were university age, they had to go to the UK to study mining. Peter says they now teach and mentor the next generation, here, in Zambia.
I would say within a year or two, all our graduates, the 30 or so, get jobs from directly the mines themselves and the contractors.
They've lived through copper booms and busts before. Roy says every time it happens, it's hard not to be hopeful.
After what we have gone through, now it looks like a sunrise again. What is it that we must do differently?
Roy's looking at us, but older brother Peter steps in to answer.
It won't be different. I don't know. It's a question of how the government deals with the industry and how the government agencies make sure the money that comes out of mining is all accounted for.
But his brother Roy worries more about the things Zambia has no control over, like the shaky ground of global politics, where a sudden war can change the price of copper overnight.
Very unpredictable environment that we have. And that's also affecting our lives, remember? And sometimes it's so scary. You begin to think, what's tomorrow going to be like?
What is tomorrow going to be like for Zambia? The Chileshe brothers have lived long enough to see Zambia's fortunes rise and fall. And now they're rising again. But are their students better prepared for what's to come? Students like Rose Mpanza, who's interning at a copper mine. We met her in Peter Chileshe's class on our first day in Kitwe. She told us how the copper boom is going to make her rich. And Zambia rich. That's why she's willing to go into the mine.
Well, my first time I was scared.
Rose works in one of the deepest mine shafts in the country, almost 2 kilometers deep, the length of nearly 20 football fields, end to end.
This feeling has never left me. Like every time I'm going into the shaft,
To get to the bottom, Rose takes a lift, the cage.
So there are some rules in the cage. You're not supposed to lean on it. You're not supposed to overcrowd it. As a female, you're supposed to be at the front. You're always supposed to be in full gear when going in the cage in case of an emergency.
With the safety check done, the lift starts to go down. It takes about 10 minutes to reach the bottom. As she gets closer, Rose feels gravity pull at her from the inside.
There's a way that your body feels when you're going down. Okay, the atmosphere just changes, the temperature, everything else changes, and you pray. By the way, we have...
Rose says eventually the lift grinds and rumbles to a halt. She gets out and goes to work. There's no time to waste.
Okay, it's hard, but every dream is worth dying for, if you ask me.
Our time in Kitwe is over. As we head back to the airport, we drive along the busy highway, passing Black Mountain, the billboards, and the trucks full of equipment. We think about the people we met. The Jerobos wanting permits, the activists wanting a clean environment, the journalists wanting to report freely, and the student miners wanting to escape poverty and make their country rich. We think about Rose, going down the mine shaft, the lift grinding to a halt. The moment she steps out into the dark and goes to work anyway. Zambia is doing the same thing right now. Stepping out into something uncertain and going to work anyway. There are so many obstacles in the way. But maybe, just maybe, this time, the boom will be different for the young people betting everything on it.
This episode was reported and produced for Radio Workshop by Naomi Gruen and Darshan Moodley. If you want to learn how to make narrative audio stories like this one, Naomi and Darshan can tell you exactly how they did it. Head to our show notes for the YouTube series we made with the Deutsche Welle Academy. It'll give you everything you need to get started. Our associate producer for this story was Laksin Mwale. Additional production assistance from Gabir Jagram. Special thanks to Rob Byers. This episode was edited by Kerry Donahue with support from me, Lesedi Mokgwatle. Darshan Moodley is our senior producer. Joe Jackson is our sound engineer and managing producer. Mike Rayfelt is our sound designer and executive producer. Vuyo Letseke is our executive director. Original music by Kamani Sambu at Edible Audio in Cape Town. Special thank you to the organizations that helped us out: Flavor FM, Publish What You Pay, Southern Transitions, Good Governance Africa, and of course, Copperbelt University. This episode and the work of Radio Workshop would not be possible without the support of the UMI Fund, Deutsche Welle Academy, the Climate Works Foundation, the Forward Foundation, and Fondation Chanel. Find out more about what we do and support our work at radioworkshop.org.
In the Obit Project podcast, young journalists tell stories about the lives of real Montanans after they die. I'm Jad Abumrad. I've always thought, frankly, that obituaries were a little bit snoozy. So I teamed up with my old friend, Journalism School professor Jewel Banville, to help young journalists make a new kind of obit through sound. These are rich, honest stories about ordinary people who lived and died. Listen to the Obit Project wherever you get your podcasts.